Hello and welcome to this review of my Cerakeys Nada 65 Panda keyboard. This was sent in by Cerakeys themselves, thanks guys. So to give a bit of background, Cerakeys are famous for making, you guessed it, ceramic keycaps. I've previously reviewed one of their sets, the crazed one, which I really liked, and in fact I thought it was undersold a bit. Normally, products in the Mac keyboard markets are massively oversold with ludicrous marketing claims, but I think Cerakeys understated how much these can do for your typing sound. However, as soon as I learned about these, I immediately saw the potential for a very nice sound profile, and that's something I dug into during the review with a few sound tests. Check it out if you're interested. Anyway, until recently they only sold keycap sets but not actual keyboards, that is, until this one hit, which is their first foray into keyboards. This is the only model they offer for now, but they're already running a Kickstarter for another model, so maybe we'll see a range of keyboards in the future. I think it makes sense for them to offer some keyboards rather than only keycap sets, as not everyone is interested in trying to get a set and mix and match it to a keyboard. In my experience, many of the non-hardcore peeps just want a plug-and-play product rather than having to fuck around a bunch with different loose parts. It also gives them the option to make a chassis that really suits the keycaps themselves. There are no options or alternative layouts, form factors, languages, switches or color options for this keyboard. This is basically it, at least for now. They went with a Panda theme, which makes sense because the company is from China and pandas are super cute, although admittedly their panda-ness is pretty lightweight. I just call it black and white really. These are probably the most vanilla and least flashy keycaps they offer, white on black and vice versa, but also the most easily usable. The Panda theme is more obvious on the back and it looks nice and all, but I always figure embellishments on the back are kind of a waste because you never get to see them. It's cool to have it though, and as long as it doesn't considerably increase the price of the keyboards, I think it's okay to have. They also added 4 Panda themed extra keycaps with the set, which is nice. By the way, some commonly asked questions about the keycaps. Yes, they are very smooth as porcelain really. No, they don't feel cold when using them, and yes, you can see fingerprints on them, which is why they kindly provide a little microfiber cloth for wiping them. Though personally, I don't really care about fingerprints, and they're very hard to see on this color scheme anyway. These are the V2 type keycaps with the improved stems. The original had stems that were also made out of ceramic, but those were prone to breakage, so now they use plastic ones that are glued in place. This works pretty well, but it's been reported that this sometimes gives stems that are angled too much and they impinge on each other. Now, I've been told Cerakeys will replace caps like that for free, but to be fair, on neither of the videos I done on them, this was a problem for me. Now, Cerakeys do a wide range of keycap choices on their website, some of them quite exotic, so these black and white ones are a bit tame in my opinion, if utilitarian. I mean, sure, they're easy to use and I have no insight in their sales figures for the keycap set, so maybe I'm dead wrong here, but I feel like if you're going to get a cool, unique, very special keycap set like these ceramics, I'd go for something a little bit more flashy, so maybe with some effects in the glaze like crazing, or more obvious edges like this, or something else, I don't know. I think these are a little too vanilla personally. Don't be afraid to show the technology off a little bit, I'd say. I mean, you guys make some really beautiful sets and I think it's those ones that attract people to your brand. Even just a simple plain white set would have been a little bit flashier, as the white keycaps let some of the backlight through, which results in a very diffused, muted RGB effect. It's nice, even something like that would have made the board come alive just a tiny bit more. Now, another way to make your ceramic keyboard pop is with a chassis that fits the ceramic keycaps, of course. And here, again, I feel like they slightly missed a trick. Though maybe it's because it was their very first project, so they tried to take it slowly and cautiously, in which case I get it. Though their new Kickstarter board is also on the conservative side in my opinion. Just to give an example, I went to a keyboard meetup recently where someone brought a keyboard with white Cerakeys caps and a custom case made out of actual Carrara marble, which I thought was a really cool idea. Now, I think this might be prohibitively expensive for a commercial keyboard, but even something with marble print would have been an interesting idea, just to name one example. The actual case is plastic, though the Panda plate at the back is an aluminium weight, which sounds almost like an oxymoron. Between the heavier than usual keycaps and the strategically placed metal bits, it's actually surprisingly heavy for a plastic keyboard at just under 920 grams, or in imperial units, lerb-gerb-derb. I mean, that's not bad for such a small keyboard, really. The chassis has a whole bunch of plates and foams and whatnot in it, but nothing rigid, and as a result, the board flexes like a motherfucker. I'm not even trying, really. And honestly, the chassis is cheap. It looks fine, but it's cheap. And I get that, honestly, because these ceramic keycaps are normally already quite expensive. A full-size set of crazed ceramics like I reviewed before is $144. So to add an expensive chassis, not to mention switches and other stuff on, would have for sure scared off too many people. Instead, the price of this keyboard is only $15 more at $159 in total. Now, of course, this is a small keyboard with a smaller amount of keycaps, so that's going to drop the cost, and the rest is really just a vessel, frankly, but I suspect the relatively low price point compared to the expensive caps was a wise move on their part. By the way, the case has upstanding edges, but is only just not a floating switch case. Now, as far as the sound it makes, they went with a relatively muted sound with many layers of foam, pour-on, silicone, soft plates, etc., as well as a rather compact case with small bezels and linear switches, so all of it is designed to mute the sound. This allows you to get a relatively greater amount of the sound of the actual ceramic, which is one way of doing it, but you can also do the opposite and make a roomy plastic case with no dampening, good acoustics, and clicky switches to amplify the sound instead, and then you end up with something that I myself at least like even better. But hey, that's not for everyone, and I'm sure there are many people that will prefer this more muted sound profile. There's really not much more to talk about apart from the switches, really, which are called Celeste switches. Supposedly these are custom made for Cerakeys. They're by Everfree, which is a sub-brand of Gateron. Basically they have the same weight profile as MX Red, but with a shorter throw of 3.6mm, and they're pre-lubed. They're really nothing special, but the board is hot swappable, so you can stick in something that you might like more. Keep in mind that you can't order the board without switches though, or any other switch types. It's only these Everfree Celeste Blue linears. Overall, I think it was probably a smart move on Cerakeys' part to sell a pre-built keyboard with ceramic keycaps at a relatively affordable price, at least compared to a keycap set. You know, otherwise suppose you want to get a 60% with ceramic keys, you'd otherwise have to buy a whole full-size set at almost the same price, and then you still need a chassis and switches. And that's expensive, and this is an efficient alternative for someone who wants to try these out but not go full rabbit hole. I still would have liked it if they'd at least gave you the option to go for a flashier case and caps. Like I said, there are a lot of things you can do there, but maybe that's for something in the future. That's it for this review. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and following is a typing demonstration of me typing on this keyboard.